Hey, this is Unboxable episode 12. Welcome back. It's Roman with James Parker, of course. I thought some interesting things that we're just going to start this off with immediately was the UFC 300. Well, the co-main at least was announced, which we like UFC and fighting and stuff, but we want to look at it to what's the symbolic meaning of these things. So the co-main was just two Chinese bitches.
Mm. Yeah, it's one of those ones where UFC 300. It's supposed to be one of the biggest events that the UFC has. You know what I'm saying? It just on the numbers. 369, 300. That's one of the big numbers. That's one of the landmark numbers. And obviously, not only have they got Chinese people fighting the co-main event, it's women as well. So you've got the co-main event in one of the biggest cards of UFC's history, and they've got two women fighting, especially two women that are relatively, they're not unknown, but obviously Zheli Zhang's known, but that's what I'm saying. She should really be, one of the headliners of the prelims, max, let alone a co-main event. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even playing on some shit. I'm just saying it straight up as it is. If she's headlining the prelims, I might be pissed off, let alone co-main event. They better have Godzilla against fucking King Kong in the main event. Otherwise, I ain't tuning in. What are you thinking?
I'm probably not picking it regardless, dude. The card looks like shit, but there's definitely some good boxing fights coming up, so that's something to look forward to. I don't watch NFL, or because the Super Bowl's coming up, and then I don't watch that shit. I don't watch the national championship for college. I don't watch football anymore.
No one really watches these sports anymore. A lot of the sports, especially like football over here, which you guys will call soccer, a lot of those things are actually dying in front of our eyes. You know what I'm saying? These used to be big things 10, 20, 30 years ago. These were the center, these were people's lives. These were something that people got invested in, got interested in. Nowadays, it's like you support a football team or something, and if they lose or they win, it's just like that's not the real event that's going on. You know what I'm saying? There's bigger things that are playing out than sporting events, and people are starting to take focus on them more than these sporting events that are going on, and that's just the way the world's going at the moment.
Also saw that Mr. Epstein used to be Tesla's advisor, one of their head advisors.
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Then you got a brother like Elon Musk coming out buying Twitter, calling it X, which is in itself quite weird, talking about free speech, talking about freeing people. Last time I checked, he was doing was freeing people like Andrew Tate and Alex Jones, the same guy, Donald Trump, the same people that he's doing podcasts with, the same people that are part of the matrix, part of the system. All he's doing is just freeing more people to oppress you. He ain't freeing speech at all. He's just freeing more people that are going to try to put you in the system and oppress your ass. If that don't tell you nothing, then I don't know what will.
So how's this $120? Did you get this $120 back?
No, I ain't got it yet. No, so I was moving wild on the weekend. Now I've had a bit of time to digest it. I spoke to the brother. He ain't got the money. That shit's gone up to 150. He knows what it is. He's paying me at the end of the month. Shit's 150 now. And at the same time, you know, I've got energy that I need to use for certain things, and I'm definitely not going to be wasting a lot of my energy, especially over a period of time, devoted to a brother that really ain't worth my time. Yeah, I'm going to pull up at his crib and he ain't going to have the money. I'm going to press his daddy, probably going to call the police. You know what I'm saying? I haven't got energy to devote to that. He knows what it is, 150 at the end of the month, and I'll get that and I'll bring that to you to show it straight up.
So you had to go through all this hassle just to figure out that he didn't have the bread for you yet. He couldn't just hit you up like the day that it happened. Back on gonna have the money until this day. He thought he could skip out on it until he knew he could.
Yeah, he's trying to take the piss. He's trying to take liberties. He's supposed to pay me this day. I'll let the brother have an extra week. And especially when that's food out of my mouth, you know what I'm saying? It becomes a problem, but I'm not going to spend more than 2 or 3 days fucking devoting energy towards that bullshit. He can give it to me at the end of the month. I'll get by. And, at the end of the day, he's lost a fucking valuable friendship and I ain't just anyone. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he's lost out more than anyone could. He's just lost out a friend who turns out to be one of them guys. Peak for him.
Yeah, yeah. James has been eating ice cube sandwiches and starting fires with steel wool and cotton balls he got out of the medicine cabinet in his house. So at this point, he's literally looking for anything he can do for cash. So, you could drop your Venmo down there, James.
Yeah, hit me up. I'm selling a bit of work on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Anything goes. You know what I'm saying? Just hit me up with any offers. You know what I'm saying?
What do you charge? 100 for the hour?
I'm doing work for biscuits now. So you got any biscuits, especially these OT round biscuits, you know what I'm saying? OT rounds, hit me up. If you got any bourbon creams, any custard creams, hit me up. I'm looking for them type of biscuits.
So what would you do for an Oreo?
For an Oreo, you know what I'm saying? That's supply and demand. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how business works, supply and demand. You got something I want, I'm gonna have to supply something, you know what I'm saying? We'll talk about the price, you know, I ain't really got money now, so I'm gonna be offering services, you know, valuable services, you know what I'm saying? Hit me up, we'll see what's going on.
But speaking of biscuits, I remember I actually left a pack of cracker biscuits in your cupboard when I was over there. What did I get for that?
Yeah.
Says a taxi driver in my face.
Nah, you just got a valuable friendship, you know what I'm saying? A companion throughout life who gonna experience shit the same as you, who you can talk to, you know what I'm saying? Who's gonna go through the same shit. That shit's invaluable. That shit ain't worth a million packs of fucking cracker biscuits, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. A couple boxes of chicken biscuits, crackers, dude. I'd wager it.
Yeah, now you're saying it, you know what I'm saying? I'm counting for some fucking chicken.
Some Cheez-Its. You had Cheez-Its, right, when you were in America?
I don't think I had cheeses. I had some of them Cheetos, you know what I'm saying? Them flaming hot Cheetos, they were tough. They were good. I had some, you know what I'm saying, Almandas. You know what I'm saying? Almanza. Them burritos, you know,
Oh, dude.
I think they might have spat in my thing. That shit still added flavor, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what Peruvian, what sort of Colombian they've been snorting, but that shit was definitely in the fucking burrito and that shit tasted correct.
It was not bad food. It was just kind of whipped up fast food because it was like a money laundering front business, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot
So,
of places around, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of barber shops, a lot of fast food chains that be coming through taking cash only, you know what I'm saying? You know what that's going towards.
yeah, a lot of little gas stations. Got the coffee in town at 2 a.m.
Yeah, coffee's in town. I didn't even clock that shit. Shout out to Roman for that. You know what I'm saying? He switched on. You know what I'm saying? He's on the streets and he switched on. I was there fucking NPC in my ass through the fucking shop. Brothers talking about coffees in town. I didn't even hear a goddamn thing. Lucky Roman was there, you know what I'm saying? Put me on game. And I remember that for life.
Yeah, pretty much like it was like really late and we were getting snacks and there was like two people, one in a big ass box truck and one in an unnamed convenience store. And he was telling them like the coffee's in town and shit, the shipment's here and shit, like pretty much saying like really like he was around a bunch of fucking 3-year-olds, like that they got a bunch of drugs now, like it's good. Like he took
Yeah.
their money, he fucking dipped out, like and it made it look like it was a convenience store, like box truck, like drop off thing, you know.
Yeah. Bear in mind that gas station was offering fucking the cheapest prices anyway you could get. So they're undercutting every other gas station. Like where they're making their money from. That's something you got to add together, put together.
Yeah, that gas station actually made national headlines because they were selling a gallon of gas for like 99 cents, bro. So I think they realized they fucking don't know what they're doing so much that they made national headlines, had the dollar gas, and they're like, oh fuck, wait, they're gonna catch on to this shit, bro. What's going on?
Yeah. As soon as they made national news, their whole coffees in town business was over.
The reason I heard for yeah, okay, yeah. Actually, we pretty much just gave the whole gas station away. You guys know the gas station. Fuck, what are they gonna do, you know?
Shit's
Because
done.
it doesn't take fucking a genius to put two and two together. Like national headlines, not say fucking gas. Like come on.
That was the Indians as well. Shout out to the Indians, man. Stay hustling. You know what I'm saying? They stay hustling. Shout out to the Indians. We fight with curry. You know, we like Indian food, good flavors. You might be in trouble in the toilet the next day, but make sure you go get that. Indian food is correct.
Bro, I fucking love Indian food, bro. It's so similar to Thai food though, kind of like curry and shit. You know, they're both really good.
Yeah, a lot of similar spices. Like especially in the UK, people don't realize that Indian food is one of the staples. It's become one of the UK's food. Like most British people, you know, if they're gonna go out on a weekend to eat some food, they ain't going eating fucking full English breakfast. They ain't going eating fish and chips or pie and mash. You know, most people go out to go and eat an Indian or go and get a curry. You know what I'm saying? Me and Roman went down to the local, got some Bengal fish, couple beers. You know what I'm saying? That shit was good.
Yeah, I actually was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. They did. I was pissed off because he brought us some shit that I didn't know. You know, there's shit. You go to a restaurant, an international restaurant or somewhere, and there's some shit you just don't know what the fuck it is. it sounds cool, you know. You might be able to make a little bit of it out, but really, that's what it was. So I just some shit. He brought us out some fucking bullshit. Pretty much, it was an elongated cracker that you put sliced onions on, and I felt fucking absolutely robbed when he brought that shit out, bro. Because the fuck, dude, I could prepare that, and I'm pretty sure that shit was like $8, 8 pounds.
Dude, they call it poppadoms. I remember we were speaking there at the time. Like, not only did they bring it out, they had the audacity to bring it unserved. They brought us out the poppadoms, like the little cracker, and they put the chutney and the onions and the sauce all separate, and we had to assemble it ourselves, bro. They're charging us for service as well, and we got to make the food ourselves. Come on, man.
Dude, don't give him too much lip service about what it was. It was a fucking cracker with some onions, dude. Let's be real, bro. It was that's what like a pissed off Mexican would eat, dude. It's just like a 1/10 of the salsa. You get just the onion, and then you take the fucking tortilla chip and you just turn it into a fucking rice cake and elongate it. That shit was ass, dude.
Yeah, that shit was bad, and it makes the main course taste a little better. You know what I'm saying? They bring out something a bit trash. You know what I'm saying? You get the main course and some proper food. You know, psychologically, you start thinking this shit real good. It was nice. Shout
Maybe.
out to the Indians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had Bengal fish there, which is from India. Like that shit was good. Like their curry was good, whatnot, you know. But pretty much the US people, like the European families, like the white families, eat the same shit as like what you guys do. You know, roast dinners, a lot of potatoes, steak, dairy, shit like that, you know, all that good shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities, especially between races of people and the food they eat. You know what I'm saying? White people are known for putting no seasoning on their food. Shout out to the white people as well. You know what I'm saying? We might cook a roast dinner, we might put a bit of salt on the chicken, we might not. Shit's still gonna be getting eaten. Shit's still gonna be getting served with potatoes, maybe some gravy.
Well, yeah, like if you're cooking a roast dinner, then you put a pot roast in the crock pot, tomato, carrot, potato, you know, a couple like different things, onion, garlic, salt, pepper. Like that is the seasoning, you know. And then when you pull the base out, like the base is so strong from all the different things cooking for fucking 12 hours that you make the gravy. That is like the seasoning, you know. But like if you're just gonna go throw a chicken breast and grill it up both sides, fucking and raw dog that motherfucker, no fucking seasoning, you're an absolute fucking barbarian, dude. You're not even eating for like pleasure at all at that point. You're just fucking feeling the animalistic need to devour shit.
Dude, I'm gonna keep it, straight up. If you do that shit, I ain't got no names. If you do that shit, you know what I'm saying, that would tell you a lot about someone. And if I was to see someone doing that, you know what I'm saying, I don't know how close I could be to that brother because it speaks volumes when someone's willing to eat fried chicken breast with no seasoning and eat that shit like it's sweet. Might put a bit of ketchup on the side. What?
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually did the studies on that. It was some like 1 in 2 people that don't season like their chicken and just smash it, dude. Just rubberneck it. Just don't give a fuck. No flavor. They're either a convicted sex offender, a serial killer, or they have some weird bestiality relationship with the past dog they had.
Yeah, I'm saying they ain't got any sauce on their food, and then they're surprised when they ain't got the sauce up here as well. You either got sauce on the food and sauce up here. If you ain't got sauce on the food, you definitely ain't got sauce up here, and that's a public service announcement.
Yeah, dude. I don't think soul food should be called soul food either, bro. Okay, I get that shit's good. But that shit, if the soul was an actual physical organ, it would have been disease from that shit. No one ever ate soul food and felt like their soul was vibrating, like, or maybe during, because when people eat, it actually releases the same shit as like having sex. A lot
Yeah,
of food does, and
like dopamine or some sort of neural fucking circuit that releases fucking shit into your brain.
yeah, yeah, we could actually get into H3O2 and like shit like that another day, like about food and like really deep. Actually, we should, but just for the sake of this conversation, it unleashes the same shit, you know. So I get that, but the soul food, dude, it just you got to take a nap. It's time to sleep after that shit, bro. It's sleepy Betty, fucking immediate, and then you're ready to go. I mean, after about 30 minutes, an hour, but you shouldn't be eating soul. Something's called soul food. You should eat that shit and then feel like you're fucking vibrating and walk around in the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called soul food, and your soul shouldn't be stuck to the floor sleeping. You know what I'm saying? You should be dancing. If you eat food and you feel sleepy, all it means is that you've eaten too much. If you need to sleep just to gain the energy to digest the food that you've eaten, you're not eating well, you're eating too much. And that's a fact.
Well, I don't think fried chicken is good, you know.
It's made with love. But you know something I've noticed? So I remember me
Oh,
and
it's good, but it's not good for you.
yeah, it's not good for you. Well, I mean, it might be good for the soul sometimes.
I don't know.
Nah, me and Roman went to eat out in London. We went into Chinatown, and you know, you'd expect some good food there. Had one of the worst pork buns I ever ate. I don't think I can get a bun at all. I don't know what that shit was. I damn near threw up after eating that shit. I ain't even gonna play. I ate that shit out of respect to the people, you know what I'm saying? But that every mouthful was a struggle. But I noticed that, you know, a lot of the stuff, you know, I see it over like YouTube and these videos, you know, America is everything times two. You know what I'm saying? Like every single food item that you can get, the best place you're going to get it is in the States. You know what I'm saying? Everything's done to the maximum capabilities, and that because America's so brutal and it's such a brutal capitalist system where you will be out on the streets homeless if you don't provide goods and services which the people want. You know, it produces fast food restaurants and places, healthcare, or it produces the best levels of things because if you don't do that, it's so brutal that you will be out on the streets.
But I guarantee in London, in Chinatown where we were, when we ate that, we only ate that place because Johnny Donut and fucking Hetty Betty, his girlfriend, fucking recommended it to us. You know what I mean? So we went there, like, and you heard me ask them questions like, "Did you have you guys went anywhere else?" Like, that was just a tradition place, like the first place they ever went there, like the only place I've ever been. So it's not like the food connoisseurs like me who are gonna scavenge around and find the delectable delights. You know what I mean? That's more for the refined foodies. They're just gonna go out and fucking eat like fornication. But me myself, the finest Peking duck I've had. I have not been to China, sadly, but the really good Peking duck I've had was in New York, Chinatown. I also had it in Chinatown in San Francisco, but it was in New York that was really good. Because the skin on that Peking duck they brought out to us, like that tells you everything you need to know. The skin was fucking, that shit looked like jerky, dude. That shit's supposed to be golden and like shiny. And the fucking meat, that shit didn't look like jerky, but it tasted like jerky. So they kind of just brought out the jerky duck for us there. You know what I mean? It wasn't bad. You throw it in a little bow, you fucking little hoisin on there, celery, fucking. But
Yeah.
that's what happens, bro, when you take recommendations from people who don't know anything about food like you did. But I was trying to tell you that before Italy. I was like, did your friend know anything about food? Like, and you're like, dude, this is where they go, man. We ended up going to this one place, bro. These fuckers, I shit you not, from the people in the USA. These people in Italy, bro, at this place he recommended, and he fucking swore to God we gotta go to where I'd get struck down. They brought me out Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs. I
That was every
swear.
in Italy though. Every place in Italy was the same shit.
No, no. That one was I literally remember they brought me Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs, bro. I literally almost spent the weekend in jail. I shit you not, dude. Because I was hungry too. And I was like, bro, like I ain't no fuck. Well, I smashed it down, no complaints here, but I'm gonna be real with you. So
I I've got a question. So on this topic, I was thinking about this a while ago, and these are the sorts of shits that run through my mind. So I want to see what you think of it. So you see, like, say farm animals, right? Say like cows or pigs or chickens or whatever. You know, when they're being produced for meat, right? They overfeed them. They overfeed them to create like bigger animals, like bigger produce. There's more meat, more size. You know, they're not eating. You know what I'm saying? Shit's modified to produce bigger animals. You know what I'm saying? That shit's known. So I was saying, like, I was thinking about this the other day. So say in the United States, right? You know, portion sizes and things like that are noticeably bigger. People eat more food. Do you think it's the case that there's some sort of like genetic modification here where people are being fed more food to create bigger people, to create a race like of larger people?
because they're like, it'd be better for the elites to feed on.
Well, yeah, because you know it's an easy thing, it's an easy like line to draw where you see it's being done with farm animals all the time. You know, they're feeding them a lot of food, they're overfeeding them to create bigger animals, more fat on them, more meat on them. So that over generations they become bigger, they become larger. So I'm saying, like in the States, there's like bigger food portions, everything's large, you know what I'm saying? People eat more, there's this, that. Do you think there's some sort of meaning behind it whereby they're trying to create a race of larger people?
Yeah, you
It's
know,
an interesting,
that is interesting. We could dive into that a second. So you know how you give like animals like a corn finisher? Like you could give pigs and cows and shit a corn finisher and it like adds a certain color and layer to the meat and you can tell like if you're a butcher and shit, you could tell on beef and cows and shit how they were finished and different things like that, just literally by looking at the meat. I like so that like made me think of dessert. And I fucking love I actually sometimes I just won't even eat dinner. I'll just smash a half a chocolate cake. I could give a fuck. You know what I mean, dude? And I've never really been one to think or like organize like sweets and something like that to be something you just eat after dinner, like last thing, you know? So maybe that's like the like dessert finishing people, you know, for the meat and shit. So it's a little bit sweeter because you know that's pure theory, but it's not theory that they straight eat people like cannibals, eat DNA and shit for energy and blah blah blah. Eat, rape. The pilgrims ate people when they came.
yeah, they start eating that. You know, there's a brand over here called Pilgrim's Cheese. You know what I'm saying? They stay eating you up like a block of cheese, straight up mature cheddar. You know what I'm saying? But
Well,
yeah,
half this food you don't even like. What the fuck is ramen made out of, bro? Where's that shit coming from?
shit's
How
just
do
it's just stodge. It's not there's no like nutritional value to it. It's just stodge.
like starch?
Yeah, it's just straight up. So we talk about the food pyramid a bit. So now you bring that onto it. So you say like carbohydrates, like the starches, like the potatoes. That's supposed to be the largest part of the food pyramid. That's right at the bottom. That takes up the largest part. And is that really should that really be the majority of our diet?
It should. I think it's. Well, I don't think it's starch. Like you know, because making noodles is pretty simple. Like grains, like you could use unrefined bleach, unrefined flour. I mean, and unbleached flour, and like just raw ingredients and make like healthy pasta. Like in Italy, they have healthy pasta besides Chef Boyardee bullshit. But uh, so I think it's just I don't think there's just starch. Actually, I'm actually gonna grab a fucking I don't have ramen noodles, but I have like a fancy version of it. So I'm gonna grab that and I bet if that has probably half the shitty ingredients.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the ingredients because who really buys food and takes a look at the ingredients nowadays? No one does, and I certainly don't. But sometimes you got to think of it from the perspective of how shit should be. Okay, we've got to this stage in society and we've done this, that, or the other. But what should you be eating and what sorts of food are we consuming today? And that's the sort of question I ask myself when I'm trying to figure shit out. It comes to the point of what do I want to be eating? What should I be eating? And what sorts of food am I consuming today? And what are the reasons for that? That's definitely something interesting that you guys should think about as well. And it's something that I think about. And it's like, what do you want to be eating? What are you eating? And if that shit don't match up, what is the cause of that and what is the problem?
All right, dude. Well, I can tell you right now that this has about 900,000 more things than it needs in it. Um, this is like a fancy ramen noodle, you know, shin black. It's got beef bone broth. Like this, I'm gonna put y'all on in the US. This shit's fucking good. Put an egg in here or whatever. Like, shit's good. Uh, it's like $10 for like a pack of four though. It's not like $3 or $4 for 40 like ramen noodles. But this has a bunch of bullshit in it too. I mean, it has sodium phosphate tribasic, all types of gross shit. I'm seeing yellow corn flour, which is one of the more normal things. Yeast extract, one of the more normal. Then you go over here though, and it's got tocopherols, soybean sprout extract. Soy is not good for men. You got sodium phosphates. It's just all types of, there's only 10 lines of just different gross shit. Hydrolyzed soy protein, wheat protein, kelp extract, modified cornstarch, like just all types of gross shit.
So why are these things? So what is pasta made out of? That's just like fucking
I,
flour and
I literally can
eggs.
make pasta.
What is
I
that?
literally can make
What are the
it's
basic
yeah,
ingredients? Flour and eggs.
it's literally flour and eggs and seasonings and like
Okay.
you roll.
So
That's the base of primary of it. Like,
that is what pasta is. Like you can go to the best restaurant on earth, a Michelin star restaurant, and if they're cooking you pasta, I can guarantee you there's no sodium, fucking phosphate or whatever shit's in there. They're just making that pasta with eggs, flour, salt, pepper. So why is it the case that when we buy these foods, it's got all this, that, and the other? Why are they in there? What purpose do they serve? And what are we going to do about it at the end of the day?
the best thing to do, obviously, is if to grow your own food and farm your own shit, and be in a community that there's like a lot of other people who do that, so you can kind of just barter shit off. Because that gives you accessibility to having a lot more shit than you could just.
Yeah, but the reasons why we don't do that is because we haven't got time. You know what I'm saying? Beforehand, it was only the man in the household that used to work. It was only the man that needed to work. He earned enough money to put bread on the table, to put food on the table. And then it got to the point where, the man's income wasn't enough. And before you know it, now the female has to work. So before you know it, there's no time to cook and there's no time to grow this and there's no time to do that because both parents have to work. So now you need to go to the fucking supermarket to buy your food, which, by the way, is shit food. Obviously, you know that. And then before you know it, you ain't got time to bring your own kids up. You've got to send them to the school, which, by the way, is the worst possible schooling. You are schooled to be a slave, to be put into the matrix, to be put into the system. So all these things conspire against you, and to the point where once you realize on every possible level that shit is made to negatively impact you, your family, and the future generations, it really gets to the point where it's like, if you don't see this shit at this point, we can give as many reasons and explanations and we can break it down just to try and make sense of it. But at the end of the day, that shit really ain't how it should be, and that's not how we want it to be. And all we're working for is trying to make this shit correct again, turn this shit right side up again, because the shit's been flipped.
Well, technically, if you start growing your own shit and you have your own animals and shit, and you're somewhere like you could honestly just not work, so you don't need anything.
What would you need to work for if you had your own land and you had all the means to survive? You could grow your own food. You had a fireplace or whatever, a fire. What would you need to work for?
Greed.
Greed, or maybe it changes the game. You know what I'm saying? If you create a need to work and it changes the game, whereby there's certain presuppositions to the game. I don't want to be talking too in detail. You know what I'm saying? I'll just go off on tangents, but all it does is change the game. We can't change. There is a game being played, and it's over land, resources, power to do what you want when you want. All we can do is change the game, whereby there's different criteria where you get those things. It's all over land. It's all over resources. It's over woman. It's over access to food. It's over access to land to do what you want when you want. And all we can ever do is change the game to get those things. So it could be over physical strength. It could just be over who is going to take this land. It could be over who's best at going into battle. It could be over who's best at fucking coding a fucking bunch of maths into a fucking computer. There's different ways to get those things. All it is a change of game, a sleight of hand. And if that game is not beneficial to you, best believe whoever that game is not beneficial to is going to do their best to fucking destroy that shit and create a fucking new game.
Who do you think is like was the most, do you think they're all, okay, let me list like three of them for you. Like we'll take Siddhartha Buddha, Yeshua ben Yosef, aka Jesus Christ, and the Prophet Muhammad. Do you think they're all just prophets of different religions?
That's good.
Of the same God or different gods is another question too on top of that.
Well, I think fundamentally, like, I mean, Muhammad and so we'll say Jesus for ease of communication. I think they're more similar. I think Buddha has a very different philosophy. His philosophy is very different from those in like a very major sense. His philosophy was one is like, obviously the idea is nirvana, is nothingness, free from desire, free from, it's like you don't, it's like attachment is the root of suffering or whatever. So if you get attached to physical things and stuff, then that's what's going to cause suffering, because it's going to get ripped away, or that bitch that you thought you loved, you're either going to stop loving her if she's going to do some bullshit, and it's not going to be, pleasurable the whole way. So the idea is don't attach to these things at all, become in a state of essentially resignation, resign from life, and essentially act like you're dead, until you die. That's what I see Buddhism as. I see meditation as a similar sort of thing, which can be useful. But at the same time, I'm trying to live my life. I'm not trying to be awake and shutting my eyes for my whole day to pretend I'm not here. That's how simply I see it. I see Muhammad and Jesus as slightly similar in a certain sense. Obviously, they've got certain different manifestations of that philosophy within different areas of the world. But at the same time, they're not the same. Because you see with certain people, like you can speak to a Christian or you can speak to someone who's a Muslim, and they will fundamentally disagree on some basic principles, and they will say it's this or nothing. There's no reason they will die on that hill. And in different areas, they've got different gods because they have different conditions of existence. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the desert, you know what I'm saying, you will pray to the god and be thankful just for a bit of rainwater. If you're out in fucking England or some shit, you will pray for a bit of sunlight, and you will have a different god, and it's different types of people.
The traditional pagan understanding of prophets and stuff is, right? Why there's kind of a war against God.
No, go on.
It's because they say that God sent a lot of prophets to different groups of people to incite war and division and keep the world below heaven.
Okay.
And uses the devil as well. So it's like prophets, so it's just many prophets were born to declare war on each other.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So we're talking about etymology in the last episode, and obviously terraformed, and the idea of a prophet, really, to me, they're supposed to be the word of God. They're supposed to be on behalf of God. They're supposed to be the son of God. You know what I'm saying? The word prophet, how do we utilize the word prophet today? That's a business terminology. I've made profit. I'm making money. I'm benefiting off this. So at the end of the day, all these prophets, all they've ever done is just make the people, because the prophets themselves are just names. There's no Jesus, there's no Muhammad, there's no Buddha today. All it is people living their life, making profit for the ones that they called prophet. All they were was just a.
Jesus actually was homeless and poor. So he wasn't making any profit.
He wasn't making any profit. I'm saying the people that use his name are the ones that made profit. Jesus said he was the son of God, and we are all the son of God. We are all born from God. Everyone themselves is a slice and like a piece of God, like a source of God. Before you know it, that shit's turned into, yeah, that ain't true. God's somewhere else. And
So
before
you're essentially saying he's like a highlighted blade of grass for a certain means.
yeah, he's called a prophet for a reason, and all I can see is that from his name and from whatever he was and all his actions in his life, all I can see is profit that was made from him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, man. Like, what would be the difference between him and like a lot of other people?
Well, that's how the world works. It's land and resources. But it's funny because say there were some prophets that came down, like Muhammad and Buddha and Jesus, whatever. Say they were like, the gods coming down, and say they only come down every now and again, and they come down and give their philosophy, and then afterwards it's just like nothing to do with the gods, just like straight up people, NPCs, like normal people. That shit will become degraded. That shit will become tainted, and before you know it, if they only come down and prophets only come down at a certain time, or what you might call them, and it's just left into the hands of like mortals and humans, you know what I'm saying? Shit ain't gonna be the same. It ain't gonna be from the source. It's just gonna be interpretations of what was said from the source. And before you know it, that shit just becomes, how can we utilize this for our maximal advantage?
Interesting. I'm not saying I subscribe, but definitely something to think about.
Yeah, we don't subscribe, but make sure you subscribe to us. Shout out, we're trying to reach 30 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? This is a big milestone for us. As soon as we reach 30 subscribers, we're going to be celebrating big time. We've achieved a lot.
Exactly. And also James has a book he should be brandishing, but he's still behind in the marketing schemes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not really one to scheme. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really one to make schemes. But you know what I'm saying? If this is the game which needs to be played, then I'll play your game better than they can. Just depends on.
I don't know if it's necessarily skewing. It's a logical idea and thought that no one's gonna know about your goddamn book unless you
Yeah.
advertise.
Well, this first book that I've written, that was just more of like an arrogant, this is what I know, and this is how short I can say it. There's only a few people in the world that will ever be able to understand that. The next book I'm writing is going to be done soon. I'm working on it. That's going to be more accessible. That's going to be more of a novel. It's going to be a good read. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be funny. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be thought provoking. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna want, you shouldn't be reading a book and it shouldn't be a chore. You should be reading a book and wanting to turn the page. And there's a lot of books today that don't do that. There's a lot of books which have too many pages. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the world of today where everything's instant gratification. You don't want a book that's 1,000 pages long. You know what I'm saying? I would not give you a bit more than 150, 200 pages. And that's just
Some
because
people
I
will.
don't want to do
Some
that.
people would like 1,000 page book.
Yeah, but I can say what other people would say in 1,000 pages in about 200 or 100. It's just more dense. And at the same time, if I can say it in a shorter amount of words, then I will do it. I'm not going to beat around the bush.
Maybe if it's that's just the level of intricacy you're gonna dive into.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can be said. I mean, obviously, we're creative people. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Divine Feminine. You know what I'm saying? Creation. You know what I'm saying? We know where that comes from. Some people have the ability to create and also beget, to give birth. You know what I'm saying? To create, to take action as well. And some people have those abilities. And I'm a creative person. I like to create, but at the same time, with creation there comes chaos, and you need to bring order to that. And obviously, Roman's a creative person as well. You know what I'm saying? He's a musician, one of the most talented natural musicians that I've ever come into contact with. And we're just talking about, no instruments, no beat. You know what I'm saying? He'll find a rhythm from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? He's got an album coming out soon. When you gonna have that coming?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. That's all really this album is just like a plan for it. I just want it to be like the whole map of what's going on. Like reverse and inside out, I can't talk too much, but it's conscious. It's not even hip hop. It's not hip hop or rap, conscious hip hop or rap. It's just music. It's genreless.
We're unboxable for a reason. You can try and tell me it's this or that or the other. At the end of the day, we're just creating what comes natural and what is unique and what's independent to us. And you can try and put us into a box and say it's this and say it's that. But at the end of the day, it is genreless, and you cannot put a label on us and say we're this or that or the other. We are who we are, and we create what we create.
Yeah, it has indigenous sampling in it. I mean, EDM, there's Spanish music in it, there's church music, there's like hymns, there's Muslim Hebrew music. I mean it's everything.
The
It's the world.
Roman is not 100% Congolese, 100% Chinese, and 100% fucking Caucasoid for no reason. You are going to get every single possible interpretation within this fucking album. You're going to get every single point of view that is possible and perspective. Every single type of music, every single word that could be uttered from a man's mouth is going to come through this album. And it's not just going to be with the words, it's going to be in the sound. The communication is going to come from the vibrations, from the frequencies, from the entire album. A lot of people today listen to singles. This album is going to be a masterpiece. You listen to it from the start to the beginning. It's going to take you on a journey into the new world.
Yeah, it's conceptual as well. So
All right, woman.
yeah, there's uh James, you need to start brandishing your goddamn book. I
I
hope you
will
get
get.
that $150.
I
Let's get
will.
episode 12.
Episode 12. This one's gone real quick. We'll be back with episode 13. Unlucky for some, lucky for me. You know what I'm saying?
And 13, we'll go deeper on food. We'll actually talk about like H3O2 and actually how water isn't what you should be drinking, and water is just a big $1 trillion industry. We're not developing